Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Down in the Valley. My name is Edson Ochoa. Excuse me? There we go. Oh, come on. Anyways, welcome to another episode of Down in the Valley. It's episode 25. Woo! Actually, I had something planned that I totally forgot to do. It was just something fun, having to do with yesterday, the lights going off. But oh well. So I just wanted to, first of all, I do want to say, that yesterday, if you guys weren't aware, on Twitter, we were planning on going live. However, here in the Pearland region where Sean and I live, the power went out throughout the afternoon. So by the time I got here, the power was restored, but it was also going to be too late since I had already talked to the guys, of postponing it to the day after, which is today. Mostly because we had no idea when power would be restored. But we're here. We're back. Today is Thursday for episode 25. I do want to give a big shout out to our friends from the Beautiful Game Network who help us out a lot in these with our episodes. Uploading them to iTunes, Google Play Store, Stitcher, etc., etc. So be sure to check them out on their website at www.bgn.fm. Follow them on their social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, at the BGNFM. While you're there, be sure to check out all other USL podcasts, including Rising as One, which covers the Phoenix Rising, as well as the USL show and Sock Takes. Really, really good podcasts that deal with USL teams. Be sure to check them out as well. Also check out our website at downintheRGV.com. Be sure to check out as well our articles, our galleries, etc., etc. Follow us on our social media at www. Actually, not www, at downintheRGV on Twitter, as well as on Facebook. Be sure to check out our Soundcloud, where we upload all of our podcasts as well. And if you have Instagram, be sure to follow our friends from RGVFC Fans. We help administer their website or their Instagram account. So be sure to check out all of the pics that they upload. That cover the Toros. And it's really kind of difficult for me to kind of talk about it right now, but all day, we've been looking at all these pictures coming out of the Rio Grande Valley. A lot of people have been displaced from their homes due to this tropical disturbance that dumped a lot of water in these past few days in the Rio Grande Valley region. I know, I think it was Tim Smith or one of the weather stations from over there, if not the National Weather Service. They mentioned that just today alone, rainfall accumulation was about 11 point something inches, and that's a lot of water in such a short amount of time. And so, basically, because of all these people that need help, the RGV Food Bank is requesting a lot of donations. They actually have a list that I posted on Twitter of things, canned foods, and other utilities that they may need. This can be donated and dropped off at all HEB stores in the valley, as well as the specific one on 724 North Cage Boulevard in Pharr, Texas. 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday, and 8 a.m. to noon this Saturday. This address is actually the building of the RGV Food Bank, so you can drop off your donations there as well. The items that they are requesting are as follows. They're asking for canned soups, canned tuna, potted meat, Vienna sausages. Make sure that they're the easy open kind. Peanut butter in plastic jars, fruit cups, easy open, 1 gallon of gallons of bleach, and paper towels, not the moist wipes, the actual paper towels, like the Bounty ones, and things like that. You can also donate all monetary donations online, and that can be on their website, foodbankrgv.com. Be sure to click on the How to Help menu item and make your donation to the RGV Food Bank. From all of the guys here and down in the valley, myself, Jacob, Cesar, and Ray, we really appreciate any help that you guys would give to the residents of the Rio Grande Valley, who a lot of them have suffered a lot, and it looks like this is something that might take a while for people to recover, because frankly, the valley just isn't ready for this amount of rainfall, and obviously it's none of the citizens' fault. Nobody could have predicted this much rain, and so, well, once more, would really appreciate any donations that you guys could give to the food bank at RGV. Blues fan, all the thoughts are on the people in the RGV area and the surrounding area. What a time it has become. I hope everyone is well. Definitely, Blues fan. So, having said all of this, let's go ahead and welcome my co-host, Jacob. Jacob, how are you?
I'm doing well. Better than most of the folks in the RGV. Of course, I was very lucky that I live on the north side of McAllen, and so we got a lot of rain, but it wasn't to the point where it flooded. A lot of it was west of where I live, so that was good. But of course, yeah, all the thoughts are with us, and of course now it's just a time to rally around this whole city.
Yeah, definitely. My parents were sending me pictures, sending me videos of like their friends that live in the south side of McAllen with La Balboa, over there by the military highway and 23rd Street, even right in front of the convention center. So many vehicles, almost submerged completely underwater on the frontage road. There were cars that were trying to get out of the water, trying to climb, the grass towards the actual expressway that didn't manage to make it to the expressway before their engines failed. I have a couple of friends, ex co-workers, who posted on their social media, the water actually managed to get inside of their houses, and a lot of people are right now at emergency shelters. So our prayers go out to all of them, and not just prayers, but I'll be trying to see what I can do to help once I'm over there this weekend. So hope to see a lot of you guys from the RGB that were not really affected as much, and if you can help out your fellow RGV citizens who were affected to the point that they're not in their homes right now, and we would really greatly appreciate it. So, and anyways, man, I don't know. All right, guys. Show's over. Bye. I can't do this anymore. No. Okay. Show must go on. So this past week, and I keep on saying it every week, that it just hasn't been our week. We had another loss. We went to OKC. We went up to OKC, and we went up against one of the worst teams in the USL at that time, and that is OKC Energy, and we just completely lost it. And it's the same thing every week where, yeah, Victoria, it just hasn't been our season, just in general. But even then, it's like, even last season was not our season. So I just don't know actually, we know what's going on, but it just makes us feel hopeless the way things have been going, and more specifically, that last goal. It just, I saw it and I was like, I was just shocked. I really had nothing to say, because I saw that almost everybody had just given up completely, in which Nico Cordy goes up towards, we had a corner kick in our favor. Nico Cordy goes up, and Miguel Gonzalez from OKC wins the ball outside our box, and he runs all the way towards an unattended goal, and nobody ran except for Pablo Aguilar. And Pablo Aguilar, tried to slow down Miguel, is it Gonzalez, I think? And nobody else went down to help him. And then even he gave up and just let the OKC attacker just pretty much trot over and just push the ball inside the goal for the final 3-1 loss.
Yeah, it was not our day, obviously not our week, and it hasn't been our season either. And of course, that was just to proven. We had given up. I believe technically, though, OKC Energy actually had ended up overtaking us before we came into that week. Yeah, before we came into that weekend. But the problem also was that even from the start of the game, we saw. I know Omar Ontiveros, he ended up scoring, but at the start of that, he gave up a dumb foul really early in the game. Yes, you can say it was a tactical foul, but at the same time, you don't need to give up you don't need to get a yellow card 11 minutes into the game. And that was just, in my opinion, what started off, in a way, just terrible play.
Yeah, definitely, because especially when you're a center back, having a yellow that early in the game pretty much limits you what you can and cannot do as the game goes by. Because now you have to make sure that you can't foul anybody, because then you run the risk of getting the second yellow and the red. And so because of that, I felt that even Omar Ontiveros, felt like he didn't do some things like he usually does because of that yellow. Now, my concern, or my main gripe with Omar Ontiveros, is that he gives up these yellows too easily. If I'm not mistaken, Omar Ontiveros is the player with the most yellows on this team, and I'm going to go ahead and confirm that because I feel like he's like almost every match he's been getting a yellow.
Yeah, and it's a shock that, of course, we know that rule. It comes up where if you get too many yellow cards throughout a season, you're gonna get suspended. The guy, in my opinion, Omar Ontiveros, I know he's probably one of the only good defenders, at least in the back line for our team, because we don't have that much depth. But at the same time, maybe it's time for a change. If he's going to keep doing that and giving up those yellow cards way too easily. There's no reason for him to do that.
So, Ontiveros, by far, he has 5 yellows this season. The next one is Todd Warden with 3. So, he's really, but this all comes, I feel like this all comes with experience. Like, he's still a little bit too frantic in trying to get the ball back, that he gives up these fouls. At least that's the way I see it. But in the end, it's affecting us negatively, especially with how early he ends up giving up these fouls.
Exactly. And I mean, you said it right there. There's just, I know we're just going on one person, but at the same time, that one person makes a huge difference throughout the game. And it's simple soccer. You get a yellow card early in the game, you can't be that aggressive, and we need players to be aggressive and try. But guess what? That's not going to happen if you get yellows constantly.
Yeah, and you're talking about a yellow in the 5th minute. That's too early. He does get the goal in the 15th minute. Off of a header, if I'm not mistaken, it was after a corner kick, But in the end, the same defensive problems, the same mental mistakes, continue to plague us, especially away.
It's plagued us both ways in a sense, because we only have one win, and that was at home. Yes, we've had most of our draws at home as well, and then constantly just giving up even more on the road. And it's unacceptable. Of course, we've talked about it constantly, but what is there to really talk about anymore if they're just going to keep on doing this and give up? We saw it in the OKC game. That was the first time that when I watched a game, I just stopped watching it because I couldn't handle it. They just gave up. They didn't care about the play or anything like that. It's frustrating.
It is frustrating because, we're trying to hype up this team. Obviously, we're trying to inform first and foremost about this team. But we're also, trying to hype up, this team to the fans, to get people on the stadium to go watch them live at HB Park whenever they play at home. And then they give us this, they're giving us this showing. Before it wasn't because of a lack of trying, but then after this game, after the way they ended it, it leaves you a really, really foul tasting in your mouth, because if these players they just are hopeless out of the situation, then you really don't have that. You lose that hope of reverting this negative situation, because if the players who are the front runners or I want to say I totally lost the word, but they're the ones responsible for turning the ship around. If they give up, then it's hard for a fan to not give up as well.
You said it. It's tough. Can't really defend this team any more than we have, and just it's difficult. You said it as well. We're trying to inform fans and bring fans into the stadium, but if they keep losing and playing the way that they play, then there's basically no sense. We're gonna see at the end of the season, most likely we might have 2 to 3 wins in our column, but right now, it just does not look good for anything to come out of this, even for next season.
No, definitely. I mean, so one of the things that was brought up on Generation Orange on Tuesday.
Why you looking over me like that?
Because you're the one that kind of brought it up.
No, Cisco brought it up.
Okay, Cisco brought it up. So Cisco, if you're listening, thank you. Okay, so one of the things that Cisco brought up on Generation Orange was if we know that this team has the talent.
Well, you got to ask the question first.
What was the question again?
Does this team, the way it was worded, hold on.
It was a.
Is the difference between this team and the team, or what is the difference between this team and the
2016?
Team, the team that the first year.
So I'm gonna make you the same question again. Thank you, Sean. What for you? What was the difference between the 2016 team that led us to second place in the Western Conference and into the playoffs compared to this 2018 season team?
Well, for me, we had a lot more. We had a lot more veterans on that team. We're talking about Rob Lovejoy, right there. That was a man that had played in the MLS, knew what it took to play anywhere, and was fantastic. Then the same thing, right off the bat, you have Kevin Garcia that played fantastically, and just that team had a sense of urgency, had a sense of passion to play. Constantly were making moves to get even better, and that's what led them to second place. Now, of course, not including the playoff game. That was a totally different story, but for the whole season, what led us to that second place was just the play. It was much better. I think and yes, it will take time for even Jerson to find this team, but out of the first year for us to do that, it's just because I think we have the talent.
So we have the talent in 2018. Is that what you're saying?
We do not have the talent in 2018. We had the talent in 2016.
But not this season.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. It's sad. It's really, really sad to say, because I honestly think we do have talent in most of the necessary positions. We've talked many times about the places where we don't have talent right now, or depth. But I feel like starting 11, for the most part, has talent. I mean, the reason I'm saying this is because Aldo has talent. I think Chuy has talent. I think Todd Warden definitely has talent. Kyle Adams and Manny Padilla, as well as Kai Green. They've shown that they have talent. And Nico Perea, when paired along with Wharton, has shown talent. But it's these mental mistakes. The worst part is that they keep on repeating the same mistakes. Now, does fixing that fall at the responsibility of the players, or does the coaching staff also have some sort of responsibility for that?
It falls on both. It falls on the players for obviously trying to fix it. And then, of course, you have to have coaching to say, look, you're doing this wrong. This is how you can make it better. So it falls on both of them. Is it ignorance? I have no idea. But it could be that part where, yeah, maybe a player is just thinking, oh, I know how to fix this. But then he just goes off and he does the same thing again, making it insanity.
And I could definitely agree on that. In that, it's up to the players to put into practice what they feel is the solution to that lack of mental awareness. But then again, the coaching staff should be the ones that get after them when they continue to do that. And if they continue to make these mistakes, maybe they need to see the bench, But then we run into this problem in which we have our starting 11, but the ones that are down there, there's a noticeable change in talent. And so the Coach Echeverry, has to balance his trust that the players will get will get through this, as well as, being firm, but the team being affected negatively by these, by the players. I'm not sure what you would prefer. So I'm going to ask you this question. Do you prefer the starting 11 continuing to play because they're, you can say, the best of the bunch of the roster, but having these mistakes pop up? Or do you prefer continue to playing with the bench, with the reserves, with Bryce Marion, with Sheldon Sullivan, with Robert Castellanos, who aren't as talented per se as Ontiveros, Kyle Adams, and Todd Warden, but that don't have the tendency to make these mistakes? We've already don't have one of the biggest, what's the word I'm looking for? One of the biggest culprits of these mental mistakes, and that is Connor Donovan. But we're seeing that this continues to happen. I mean, what do you think? Should we sacrifice the talent in our starting 11 to try to minimize, these mistakes, or will it be just the same story due to their inexperience?
Well, that is a really good question. It's really tough to even answer because at the same time, we know, yes, we have that talent, especially up front. We have that talent throughout the starting 11, but at the same time, I would like to see a bit of change. Who are the players that are really doing well for RGVFC at the moment? That's most likely, in my opinion, the front group. Todd Wharton and all of those guys, especially up front, they're doing fine. But now I guess it's just a chance for us to change the back line. And I'm saying, and give James a chance, give all these inexperienced guys, for especially the back line, a chance. Of course, keep Nico Cordy, because I don't think that guy is doing that bad of a job. It's just, can the defense help? And I think if you just make a little bit of a change in the back line, I think that'll be success.
Okay, number one, because honestly, Manny Padilla, I don't think it's the problem. Manny Padilla has been doing good. That's one of the players that I say has been doing great. But I think my change would be this. Keep Manny Padilla as right back. Have Kyle Adams return to the center back position, along with maybe Robert Castellanos, paired up with him, and have Kai Green playing as left back. Because you're talking about a player that's been here since the beginning, that has shown his talent. Now, all of a sudden, he's not getting any minutes with the first team, much less, worst part, not even with the second team, because they're giving more minutes to Bryce Marion and Sheldon Sullivan. I know you were telling me something during this week, and
yeah.
Are you willing to share it with the audience?
No, I mean, it's like locker room talk, really. Of course, I'm not going to say this is official, but and it even goes to FIFA, Football Manager, all those games. Those players want minutes. You want to play, and when you've been there since the beginning and you're not playing, it's frustrating. So guess what? Kai Green wants to leave. What a shock! But this guy's not getting minutes where he's that talented. He's that talented to start, and I do actually agree with exactly what you're saying. We need to change that part, and I think it can be a much better thing. Kai Green has been there from the beginning. What are we really missing? We are missing veterans in this lineup. We're missing experienced players. Boom, you put Kai Green in there. It gets more. You have more experience, especially in your back line. It's going to be much better if we do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't see why. What is it about Kai Green that does not really convince Gerson to give him minutes? What does Bryce Marion have that Kai Green doesn't? I mean, what does Kai Green have or doesn't have that Sheldon Sullivan does? And that is the $1 million question with this. Now we're in danger of losing another player in this already limited roster. We have the summer transfer window is about to come in. And if this is true, that Kai Green is looking to leave, I don't blame him, because at the end of the day, like you said, these players want minutes. And if this team isn't going to give him minutes for whatever reason, then he's going to go out and look somewhere else. Not to say that, like I said, Manny has done a horrible job and he doesn't deserve the starting lineup. He does. But like you said, we need veteranship out there. And if the Dynamo does not believe in bringing in a more veteran player, like an ex-Liga MX player around those, because they don't benefit through that, then why not take advantage of this player that has, like I said, has been here since the beginning, has played USL for 3 years, and help out Todd Warden with that responsibility of helping these young guys, develop, because Todd Warden already has enough on his hands with the captainship. He has to help develop not only himself, but Nicolas Perea and Jorginho James. And there's nobody else in the front, in the striker position, on the wing position. We don't have experience there. And we're seeing that because their understanding of each other, how they play, is getting better. Hold on. Sean, can you pass me the laptop charger, please? Thank you. And yet we're like 15 games into the season, and they still don't know. A lot of them still don't know how to where to cross it to give an advantage to whether it's Guillermo Delgado or Aldo Quintanilla or whoever's up in the striker position. We need somebody like, and we always talk about it in Generation Orange, like Vicente Sanchez, someone who will go up to and set an example to these young guys, tell them what they're doing right, tell them what they're doing wrong, and help the development and help with that, with all that experience. But they don't want that. So we have to rely on players that have led through experience with these years that they've been in the USL. But you can't compare years in the USL with years in Liga MX, with years in a national team, in years with in Europe or things like that. So in the end, what you have, you're not taking advantage of it, and I just don't think it's right, and we're not in a position to have that luxury of wasting these players?
No, we were in a position 2 years ago to have that luxury of wasting players, and sure enough, did it pay off well? No, it paid off terribly. Jose Escalante is one that, in a sense, with that, and I'm sorry to say this, but it's true, he continues his playing with San Antonio FC. That man can get really good really fast and become a star for the Honduran national team. So, because I believe he is from Honduras. My point to that is, just like we've said, we cannot waste any more talent. We have the talent here. That's why Kevin Garcia is successful in Houston. That's one definition of how well we've done. But at the same point, every single time we go back, we can't waste him, and we're doing exactly that. We don't have that much. We still have young players, but they're not going to develop until maybe 3 or 4 years from now. So we need to take advantage of what we've got now, and sure enough, we're not doing it.
Yeah, definitely. And I just don't want to see another performance like they had against OKC Energy. And I told you all right after that game, I think it's time that we, more specifically I, stop making excuses as to why these players aren't performing like they should. And questions need to be answered, and things have to turn around. Because if we're getting desperate, if we're getting hopeless, I cannot imagine how the more casual fans are getting desperate and say, you know what? Why should I go to the games if they just keep on losing? Especially in a region where results is the number one priority as far as like how much they will support a team. And so, I don't know. I just really cannot. I have no more words for this game. I mean, I think we've said what needed to be said in regards to that. I know this is a process, like Sean says, that Dynamo must be fulfilled before the trickle down effect goes down to the Rio Grande Valley. But in the meantime, we are left in a position where we're getting losing streaks and losing players because of, I'm just gonna say it, the incapability of taking advantage, of using their roster, what they have with the roster, and using it effectively.
And it doesn't help that, of course, like we said for this game, and like you said, well, really quick, I'm going to backtrack. You said it's a process, but the process doesn't mean the player. The process doesn't mean that you don't stop playing. You keep playing. You try your hardest, but that's not what they're doing. So it's frustrating. Those players they just need to have a second win. And sadly, of course, what happened to the RGV this week was tragic, but maybe they can rally around this somehow and maybe strike up a win streak. That would be nice.
It would be nice, but the mentality needs to be changed from a lot of these players. One of the quotes that I remember really well from after that 7-0 match in which Mexico lost against Chile in Copa America Centenario. But one of the quotes the day after from Luis Garcia, who is one of the commentators from TV Azteca. And it was along the lines of, if you bust your ass out there on the field, then there's no need for you to ask for forgiveness. But if you don't bust your ass out there on the field, then you don't deserve forgiveness.
Oh, it's a bit extreme, but I get what he's trying to come there and say. You just, Of course, if you leave it out on the field, is basically what he's saying, then you shouldn't feel bad. But if you don't leave it all out on the field, which I know those players did not, then you should feel terrible. You should honestly think, why didn't I play better? Why didn't I try harder?
Yeah. Hopefully that's not the case, but that's what it feels like. That's what was shown out there on the field. And we may come off as maybe too harsh, but really, I just don't care anymore. You know, it's just the truth. What was shown out there on the pitch at Taft Stadium was really not worthy of someone who calls himself a professional soccer player. Because if you're out there, it might be 93rd minute, but you might as well just give it all. Especially if you have somebody out there trying to help you with, in the case of Pablo Aguilar, but you just leave him out to die against Miguel Gonzalez. Then of course he's going to be, oh, okay, well, if nobody's going to help me, then why should I care? Why should I try and stop him? Which is not the right decision either. But I mean, I get why he just gave up and did not continue to try to take the ball or try to foul, Miguel Gonzalez. Because he was just trying to contain him to hopefully get somebody else, to come over and have a 2-against-1 and try to take the ball away. But that didn't happen. So I'm getting mad now, just thinking about it. Okay, Ray says, at this point, I think Gerson needs to experiment once again, not Osorio style, but do give those who want to play, I'm assuming, a chance.
Yeah, I agree with him. The ones that want to play, give them a chance. It's true. And at least, I mean, you pointed out one thing. At least it's not every single player that's giving up. That's a good part. We still have some players that care to play well, especially in those late minutes. I know you're tired, you feel out of it, but guess what? You still got a game to play. You still got a game to finish, no matter if you're losing or not. Lose with dignity. Don't lose not with dignity, basically. I mean, just lose the right way. Don't lose the wrong way. And we lost the wrong way.
Yeah, definitely. So I think this is an interesting break point. Actually, we have 15 minutes. We'll go ahead. So at 8 o'clock around there, we're going to show the interview we had with Chuy Enriquez on Monday. It was an interesting discussion where he talks about his career, and he also makes comments about the current situation with RGVFC. So to those of you all who are watching right now, do not miss it. Please do not miss it. It's an interesting point of view from the players' point of view of what's going on, what they feel, and what they think needs to get better. Because he was one of the ones last game against who was it? Jacob, refresh my memory. The last game at home.
The last game at home, we played against the Portland Timbers 2.
Well, one of the biggest things that he said, and he kept repeating that, it's time to stop just saying what needs to be done and actually doing it. And so he got into a little bit more into detail of what he meant when he said that. So in after that post-game conference. So be sure to check that out. In the meantime, let's go ahead and kind of talk about this Saturday's game. Rio Grande Valley FC, or the Toros, our Toros, will be hosting Phoenix Rising FC, Drogba's team, per se. Drogba, if I'm not mistaken, will not be making the trip. I believe, as I've been told, he is right now in Russia for the World Cup. So he will not be making an appearance, not even on the bench or even traveling with the team, from what I've been told. However, they do have somebody else that we need to take care of, that we need to worry about. A player that has been on fire, a player that is very familiar to Dynamo fans, and that is Jason Johnson. He is on fire right now. It is ridiculous that he can score almost from anywhere and make every goal, not just any random ordinary goal, but a beautiful goal.
Yeah, he is really impressive. He is a fantastic soccer star that, I mean, I'm scared for RGVFC to play against, because we all know when they get a good star or they play against a good star or a good team, they normally they play well, but they don't play good enough to get that W. And of course, yeah, that's one player to watch out for. Luckily, I do know that this team, no matter if they're in the lead or losing, they love to play aggressively. So watch out for a couple of yellow cards and maybe a red card from Phoenix, and maybe, of course, a yellow from us. Mm-hmm. And not to mention that there are a couple of other players that, in my opinion, are scary as well, whether it would be on the defensive side, because they're also just big. And that would be Sean Wright Phillips. I believe Sean Wright Phillips still plays for Phoenix Rising FC. And the last time that he played against RGVFC last year, I remember I was in the Stampede side, and he was fantastic as well. So those two playing together, it's going to be interesting.
Well, we are kind of lucky in that regard, because Wright Phillips is not on the Phoenix Rising roster. But who is in the Phoenix Rising roster, and you'll remember him from San Antonio, Billy Forbes.
Oh, Billy Forbes. Good old Billy Forbes. Yep, I mean, it's not a good thing, obviously, because this player, he's also really good too. And he's created problems in the past for RGVFC, so that'll be interesting to watch as well. And yeah, of course, like I said, both those players together on the pitch, if they can work together, it's gonna be tough for RGV.
So, in the past 5 games, this is the form for Phoenix Rising. They lost away against Swope Park Rangers 1-0, but then they went to St. Louis and defeated them 3-1. They tied 0-0 against Sacramento Republic at Sacramento. They defeated Las Vegas Lights at home 4-0, and then defeated at home as well Tulsa Roughnecks 3-0. That is scary. The amount of goals that this team is able to put on goal. And the fact that that's something that we are struggling with right now, putting in goals. So I really see a dark, my projection or my prediction is dark. Because from what Phoenix Rising has been showing and what RGV has not been showing, we're probably looking at minimum 4-0. Now, I hope that the same luck happens as what happened between Mexico and Germany, where I said we were going to lose by a lot and we ended up winning. That's what I'm hoping for. That's my optimism. But in reality, I feel like maybe 2-0. Maybe. Minimum.
Yeah, and like I said, Phoenix Rising, they like to play aggressively. So if we can get them in situations where they foul and get a couple of yellow cards, or even early in the game, it could change their tactics for sure. It happened before last year. That was the whole reason why we were able to draw them 1-1. So that could be a possibility. Of course, with that being said, if that were to happen, RGVFC needs to take care of business and take care of their chances as well. That's one thing that's been lacking RGVFC is, of course, chances. They've had their chances. Now it's time for them to finish their chances. And if that works, especially the way I said, if Phoenix Rising were to get into some trouble early, then that would be pretty good for RGVFC if they could knock in a couple of goals.
So in their last game against Tulsa, they lined up in a 4-1-4-1 formation. You had Carl Wasinski on goal, Amadou Dia left back, Mike DeFonte center back along with Joseph Farrell, Cody Wakasa as the right back, James Musa as a central defensive midfielder, Jason Johnson out and in left midfield, Kevin Lambert and Gladson Awako center mids, Solomon Asante right mid, Chris Cortez as the striker. So it's a 4-1-4-1 formation. That is something that I don't think we've ever seen another team play that I know of. And you're talking to Jason Johnson out in the wing, speedy player, but not only that, when needed, he will bounce to the striker position, and you saw it in that beautiful goal he had against Tulsa. He was inside the box waiting for a cross and got it with a volley. And so that kind of dynamic player is going to be I think it's going to be a headache for our defenders.
Yeah, not to mention that goal was goal of the week, if I'm not mistaken, according to USL, their Twitter page. So, yeah. And don't be shocked, of course, if Phoenix Rising did their homework correctly. You will see Phoenix Rising constantly go to our weak spot and constantly, over and over again, run the same play. And because we saw that against LA Galaxy too, and I recall that because constantly they did the exact same thing and it paid off for them, getting that 1-1 draw. And so, of course, if they do that constantly, it's most likely going to be a goal. And of course, with also that being said, RGVFC needs to change up their offense because, I know you've mentioned this before, our offense is way too predictable.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the commentators in the OKC game pretty much mentioned it, and those exact words: predictable. It's always hand it off to Chewy. Chewy will try to dribble past 2-3 defenders and then try to look for a cross towards the striker. And 8 out of 10 times. No, I was like, I was gonna go 9 out of 10, but then I was like 8 out of 10 times. They will go to Chewy. Other times they'll try to find the on the right wing, whether it's Zach Wright or Matias Aldivar or John Montaño. But more often than not, RGV will try to look for Chewy because because of his dribbling capabilities. Now, his crossing may not be so great, but he does have that spark that makes defenders go crazy. The problem with relying too much on him is, number one, obviously the defense is going to double mark or triple mark him. And when that happens, he's isolated against 3 people, and it doesn't help that very few times he gets helped out by anybody else. And so, because here's the thing, if you get one player that's double or triple mark, that means that there's got to be somebody out there that in theory would be open. Now the question is, if you can't get the ball outside of that area where you're at, when you have that closely knit marking, then there's really not much you can do. And I think That's one of the things that Chuy Enriquez did mention in the interview about that. And we are now at 2 minutes away from the hour. You have any other thoughts on the Phoenix Rising game?
I mean, just to kind of add to what you were saying there, and we'll probably see it this Saturday when let's say Chewy or someone gets the ball and they get triple teamed. Well, once he gets the ball, we'll see that space that he once had close up really fast. And so if they know that that's going to happen, they can use quick passes. And if they can use quick passes, maybe they can find a good opening. Now, of course, that comes with experience and is a pretty tough thing to see. But if they can kind of even sense it, it should be good.
Well, let's hope that they're able to develop it like that. So, quickly, prediction for this game.
Quick prediction. I say 2-0. I want to say RGVFC, but no, 2-0 Phoenix Rising FC.
If Aldo Quintanilla plays, I would say 3-1 Phoenix Rising.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And having said this, we'll be right back later on in the night. In the meantime, we are going to show you. We're going to go on break, and when we come back, we will show you the interview that we had with Chuy Enriquez. Like I said, be sure to pay attention to what he says. He has a lot of interesting thoughts and things that you probably did not know about Chuy Enriquez. So be sure to not miss it. And when we come back from the break after the interview, we will talk about World Cup. And because it's such a hot topic right now, we're going to go ahead and open the phone lines for the World Cup segment. So don't go away just yet. We will be right back after this music. our friends, the beautiful. Welcome back, everybody, to Down in the Valley. My name is Edson Ochoa, and we also have our co-host, Jacob Young. Be sure to check out our friends, the Beautiful Game Network. Follow them at the BGNFM, as well as check out the website at bgn.fm. They help us a lot getting our podcast to iTunes, Google Play Store. So be sure to check them out. While you're on their webpage, be sure to also check out the other USL podcasts like the Backchat Show, USL Show, and Rising as One, who cover this week's rivals, Phoenix Rising SC. You can also check out our website, downintheRGV.com. Be sure to also subscribe to us if you haven't already on YouTube, as well as our alternate channel, which is Down in the Valley Gaming. We will be uploading either FIFA, Football Manager, Project Cars, any games that we want to use. Jacob, Sean, and I, we will be uploading videos for your pleasure. So be sure to give us a follow on that channel as well. And without further ado, today we actually have Chuy Enriquez on the show. And Chuy Enriquez is one of our current players. He is one of our wingers, and I think has been one of the players that has stood out the most in this season. So let's go ahead and give him a warm welcome. Chuy, how have you been, man?
I've been good. I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Not a problem, man. Anytime. So, one of the things that was really interesting to ask, players is, how did you get from when you started playing to here? Can you describe your career so far since in Fuerzas Básicas with Xolos, or even before that, to where you at right now?
Yeah, well, I could even go before Xolos. It was a long process, and it was they saw me play. They called my parents, and it was just a decision overnight. I remember getting the phone call from my dad. I was at a friend's house, and he just told me, it's either you take your finals and fail just the whole junior year, or you go try out and make the best out of it. So it was a hard decision, but obviously I've always wanted to play pro, and I went with the tryout and made it. And even when I made it, it was hard for me to play out there because I wasn't 18 yet, and my parents were living in the U.S. Didn't have anybody to sign my parental rights that I needed to play.
Mm-hmm.
So they tried to move my mom from where she was living to Tijuana, but fortunately she doesn't have papers, and she has my little sister out there, so she couldn't leave everything behind just for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so they sent me to Nomads till I turned 18. Nomads, it's an academy in San Diego. And right at 18, the day of my birthday, I signed my first pro contract.
Nice. So describe with Xolos, you played with the under-20s. You played with I'm guessing their second division, or?
Yeah, I played with the second division. I started with the second division, and then it went well from there. It's kind of weird. A lot of people think that it's better to be in the second division than the 20s, but it's really not like that out there. It's better to be in the 20s instead of the second division, because the 20s goes everywhere where the first team goes. Say the first team goes to Cruz Azul, the 20s will go to the Cruz Azul. The second division, they have their own separate league, so it's kind of harder to get watched by the first team people, by the directiva. So I started with the second division. I had a good season, scoring goals, assists, everything, and they took me with the 20s. Made it to the finals twice. After the second final, I started training with the first team just nonstop for about 8 months with Pio Herrera. And he really liked the way I was playing. He liked everything about me. They'll take me to the bench with the first team. I would play every scrimmage they had with the first team, travel to Rouse Lake, travel to Juarez, to Coras, go out to bench for Copa. But I never got the chance to actually debut, which was kind of, upsetting to me because I felt like I deserved it, but soccer is just like that sometimes.
Yeah, and you mentioned Miguel Herrera, who is like they say, he's un personaje in and of itself. in Mexico. How would you describe Miguel Herrera as a coach from your experiences with
I
him?
mean, he was just, to be honest, he was a great coach. He was helped me a lot. He was a great person too. A lot of people think that he's, rowdy. He's, how do you say it? Perdón por la palabra, pero mamón. A lot of people think that, but it's really not like that. He would be straight up with me when I was doing things well, when I was doing things bad. He would talk to me all the time. It felt like he was trying to help me out. But, sometimes I did feel like he didn't have just the full confidence in me because, obviously he wouldn't debut me, he wouldn't play me. But other than that, he was a great person on and off the field. He was humble. He would talk to me all the time. And when he left, obviously he left to America. So when he left to America, we actually traveled to America that next season.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually talked to him. I talked to him that day. I was like, yo, can I go to the hotel, go see you guys? And he replied everything normal, like a normal person.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me where they were staying. I went over there, hung out with them for a bit, talked to a former teammates that I played with that got traded to America.
Mm-hmm.
And, so he's a good person. I think he's a good person. Like I said, other people, how they put it out there in the media.
Yeah.
They probably, they don't think he's not the best person out there. But no, I feel like he's a good person.
Yeah. It's like you say, I mean, it is completely opposite, maybe like the media for the ratings and things like that. They paint him, what they see, outside, like on the field, he's somebody that tells it how it is. He's very outspoken. A lot of people might take it the wrong way, but he's just blunt, whether it's with the media, with other coaches.
Yeah, other incidents that he's had also. So
yeah,
they just think that he's a bad person, but no, he's a great person. Like I said, on and off the field, he would help you on the field, and he would talk to you about real life things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's a good person.
That's good to hear. So another question that I have for you in regards to that: how difficult was it for you once you were with Xolos, once you signed your first team contract with them? How difficult was it for you to get used to a completely different atmosphere, completely different culture? I mean, there is a big difference between the Mexican American culture in California compared to the culture in Tijuana. Was it hard for you to adjust, or was it simple?
No, it was, to be honest, it was hard for me. The very first four months of me being there,
Mm-hmm.
it was worse when I was trying out. I got there and the players would look at you. They would look at you like you didn't deserve to be there because you're a gringo. I look Mexican, really Mexican,
Mm-hmm.
and they would still call me gringo. I wouldn't know how to speak Spanish the way they did. Like I did when I first got there. I stayed at the Casa Club and I had one colcha, no pillow, so I had to sleep with my duffel bag.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody offered me a colcha. Nobody, it was hard for me to adjust. It was hard for me to just live there in general. The second month, I called my parents and I was like, you know what? Like, I want to go back home. And I don't want to be here anymore. So then the coaches, they talked to me. They said, you know what? It's going to be like that for a little bit. You'll get used to it. This and that. Started talking to me that it's going to get better. And, I'll eventually things started getting better. I started getting friends. The coaches started liking me even more because they just watch me play more and more every day.
Mm-hmm.
And the environment out there, I just, I think they feel the game out there a little more. I haven't been in this league, in the U.S. league, the USL for a while, but as what I can see is the passion out there is just, it's a different, el ambiente, la pasión, todo es diferente.
What about development, though? Like, for example, the way the clubs are run from what you're experiencing with RGV compared to what you experienced with Xolos. How different is it?
I think it's way different. You know, the process out there is just, to be honest, I think it's a little harder out there because you're not only competing with the first team and the USL team. Over here, you know, it's only two teams, which I think is great because there's more opportunity. They can if they don't look at you in the first team, then they're gonna look at you here in the USL.
Mm-hmm.
Over there, they look at the sub-15, they look at the sub-17, they look at the sub-20, they look at the Segunda División. So you're competing against all those players. Even if say you're 20 years old, and the sub-15 player is killing it, they're going to give him the chance, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you're not only competing against a USL team or one team, you're competing against four teams, plus the affiliate that's Dorados, which is the fifth team.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's five teams you're competing against. And they look at every single team. They just don't look at one team. So I feel like the development over there, it's either, when I first got here, to be honest, I thought I was already old. Like I wasn't able to go to the first team anymore because in Mexico they put so much in my head. Like they would tell me, you know what, if you don't debut at 18, 19, you're just gonna be stuck at second division league, or you're just gonna be here. But I got to the U.S. and people started telling me, oh, you're still young this, you're still young that. It's like, I wonder why they're saying that, you know? And obviously it's because the college players that come out of college and they get drafted, they're getting drafted at 22, 23, 24. So for these coaches, for these people out here, I feel like that's still young for them. And to be honest, that kind of gave me a little boost, a little more confidence because, you know, I didn't know that 20 years old was a young player because everything I went through out there.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's over there. It's all about you. I mean, you mentioned. I honestly did not know that Dorados was part of was affiliated with Xolos. But you know, you are right in regards to that, in the fact that over there, because there is no college, you know, drafting or anything like that, you know, they do have that mentality that, okay, if you don't debut by 18, you know, then you're too old. When it's not like that, there's still a lot of development going on. You're right now at your age. You know, a lot of people say, well, the ripe age for a soccer player is 22, 20, 23 years old. So you're still young. You still have a lot to learn, and hopefully you'll continue to develop here in the RGV. So
Yeah, I hope so too. You know, like I said, when I first got here, I had just came out of a place where, you know, I liked it a lot, but I came out of a place where they were just telling me, si no debutas a los 18, a los 19, pues a lo mejor te atoras ahí y te quedas en la segunda, you know, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came here and just people telling me, oh, todavía estás joven, you're young, this and that, it gave me a little, like I said, more confidence. And obviously I want to develop here and end up at Dynamo, but, you know, in order to do that, you need results. And unfortunately, it's not happening right now.
Yeah. Jacob?
All right. So what was your first reaction when you were told you were going to play for RGVFC?
Well, to be honest, it was I don't know how to explain it. It was just, I was at a point in my life where I didn't even know where I was going to play. You know, I left Xolos in the middle of the season. So I wasn't able to sign anywhere because they weren't letting me go. Just problems with my carta, problems with my contract, you know, other stuff that goes on out there. And so I went home and, you know, I had my agent calling me, and there was other teams that were interested also. But I guess Junior Gonzalez, which was the coach last year, called my agent. He said, you know, I'm really interested in this player. You know, can you bring him out here, stuff like that. I said, okay, let's give it a go. And about a week later, my agent calls me and goes, hey, you know what? This guy took a job at Galaxy, so now we have to wait and see what happens, see what other teams are offering stuff. So then I went to a combine and with my agent that he sent me there, and he actually called me that day and he said, you know what? Houston is still interested. I didn't know about Toros. I thought Houston meant Houston Dynamo, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So then when I got to the combine, I saw the Dynamo people talk to me. I saw the Galaxy people, they talked to me. And, you know, I felt like when I saw the facility of RGV and they showed me pictures, I saw things. I just showed me pictures. I saw the stadium. I felt like that was the place I wanted to be, you know? I wanted to be there. It wasn't a club where you share facilities. It was a club where you're on your own, and if you do good, you'll move up to the first team. And Galaxy was more like everything was together. You know, there was academies there that they were looking at also, and you know, so I took when they told me that RGV, you know, offered me a contract, then I felt like that was the right choice, so I took it. Yeah,
All right.
but
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Because yeah, it's when I first saw the facilities, I was amazed at what it was gonna be like down here. Of course, for the first season, I went to a lot of games here, and I was just amazed at what it had ended up going. So I also want to ask you, what do you love about the Valley? What do you love about down here?
about the Valley or about the team in general?
The region.
Yeah, the region. Okay.
The region, you know what? I like it a lot because it lets me concentrate more. To the point where there's really nothing to do out here. You know, no offense, but there was, you know, I was living in TJ where San Diego was there, and I would go see my friends and the beach, everything. And here, you know, I'm just stuck, focused, and don't do anything. I haven't done anything. So, you know, I go to training, come back home, go to the games, come back home, travel, come back home. I haven't really done much. So, you know, I haven't really explored the Valley like that.
I don't blame you, compadre. Lived there for 26 years. I needed a change. Y pues me vine para trabajar acá para Houston. But so, you know, when you say that, I started laughing because it's true. There's really not much there to do in the Valley, you know, besides South Padre Island. And obviously, since you're, you know, you have to go to training and the games, you know, there's really not enough time for you to go into to South Padre, to the beach, y que este que el otro. So
no, to be honest, I've been there once. My girlfriend actually came to visit me, and I went there once. And to be honest, I don't think I'm gonna go back. I had the worst sunburn ever. I've never been sunburned like that before. I couldn't sleep for 2 days.
Ya te dio la bienvenida al valle, compadre. So another thing that I kind of wanted, so this one's gonna be kind of random. So if you could give yourself a FIFA 18 rating, what would it be?
I don't know. Right now, as the way it's going, a 50. 57, 56, around there, to be honest. I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but I think that's it right now. Obviously, I feel like I can do better, but just the way season going, I don't deserve anything right now.
Yeah. So you've touched upon, you know, this current season, how it's been going on. In your words, and whatever you can say, you know, with all honesty, what do you feel this team is lacking in order to get better results?
I think it's just little mistakes. It's little mistakes that are taking the win from us. You know, it's just little mistakes, you know, like giving the ball away and not finishing when we have to, letting go of the chances, a lot of set pieces. You know, it's just little things that we're able to fix, but it's taking a while. You know, I feel like a lot of people say it's a new team this, but to be honest, there's been about 15 games already, and you know, it's not even a new team anymore. It's just little mistakes that is affecting us, and I think it's just that. I don't know if you saw the OKC game. You know, we were up 1-0, and
Hmm.
you know, mistakes. You know, just little mistakes causes the game, and but yeah, well, all we could do is just keep working, and no dejar de creer.
And what do you feel can be done uh, on the training grounds or whatever in order to help with the mentality aspect of not, not making these mental mistakes, being able to capitalize on your chances? What do you think needs to be done in that regard? Is it on the training ground? Is it, through some sort of um, psychiatry sessions? I don't know.
No,
What do
well,
you?
I think we're doing everything. Well, the coaches are doing everything right for us to get the right training for us to finish and train in games. And you know, I feel like it's just like concentration. You know, we have to concentrate a little more and take every single play at training serious.
Mhm.
'Cause, you know, at the end of the day, you play how you train. You know, if we're gonna be missing that training, we're gonna be missing the games. So at the end of the day, it's just concentration. You know, those 2 hours and a half that we train, it's just gonna be focused on that. Focus. Oh,
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
yeah, and so
yeah.
also, do you think that it's the offense in a way that do you think that for now it has the offense been too predictable?
Not too predictable. I really know. Well, because we've had chances. We've had chances, and like I said, I think it's just the fact that we're not finishing those chances. You know, because we're getting there. I mean, against Soul Park Rangers, all we needed to do is score a PK that we had, and we would have got the 3 points. And you know, we didn't finish the penalty, and that cost us the win. So you know, but like I said, it's just little things, little things. The penalty, the one I missed against San Antonio, you
Mhm.
know, things like that are the ones causing the games because we've had chances. So I don't think we're predictable. We have players that can attack. You know, we have speed, we have technical abilities, we can take on players. You know, we have what it takes. It's just the last thing, which is finishing.
One of the things I have noticed a lot during the games. Hey, Cass, be quiet. One of the things I noticed a lot during the games is that opposing teams tend to double team you, or sometimes even triple team you when you're out there on the wing, and more often than not, you're able to get past them. But do you feel like
Yeah.
maybe it gets kind of repetitive, having to deal with these double team marking?
Yeah, I mean, I notice it too. You know, obviously I'm in the field and I can see. You know, like against Galaxy, I can tell you that I had a bad game. I had a bad game because I was falling into their game. Both their winger and their right back was just focusing on me the whole game, and instead of me playing simple, you know, I just try to go through them, you know, and it wasn't working. So I've noticed it in other games also that they're just on me, two, three players as soon as they get the ball. And, you know, I think it's just they probably watch video, watch games, and they see stuff and they just try to fix it by putting all those players on me. But, you know, at the end of the day, I feel like if I just, you know, have the confidence in me to take them, then I could do it. But, you know, it's kind of hard to be taking on two, three players all the time.
Hmm.
You know, sometimes it looks like I'm not trying, I think, or you know, but I'm giving it all I have. You know, like I said, it's they hit me, they pull me, they do all these things to stop me, and you know, obviously it works. But at the end of the day, I gotta keep focusing on me, and if that's what I have to work on, then I'm gonna have to work on that. Because I've had friends that play in other teams have told me that during their video is what they talk about.
Mm-hmm.
That this player this player does this. We're gonna have to do this. But so I know that happens during games.
Yeah, then definitely. But so how would you describe your chemistry or the building chemistry that you have building with Aldo Quintanilla?
With Aldo, me and him still got to work on how to, because we've had plays where we look good, together, wall passes, combining with each other. But then there's other times where both of us make the wrong choice by trying to dribble too much,
Mm-hmm.
So we're still working on that. Me and Aldo still working on that, and hopefully, we'll get better. He's right now in Houston, so obviously it's working for him. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of him, and hopefully he stays over there, and I don't have to work with him anymore, because that's the plan for us to be up there.
Well,
So hopefully he stays.
best case scenario is that both of you make it to the Dynamo. Pero pues dices tú,
Yeah.
it's a building process y pues
Yeah,
a
of course.
ver cómo le va.
Sí,
Voy a tratar de.
pues jugó bien contra el primer equipo que jugamos contra, ¿cómo se llama?
North Texas Rayados.
Rayados, algo así.
Sí, los North Texas Rayados. Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully, he gets some minutes today.
Sí, no, hombre, I was there and I was gonna say hi, pero pues no alcancé a hablarte. Well, because I was there.
No, that's cool.
It's all good, man. Jacob.
And
All right, so since it's Open Cup season and the Dynamo are still in it, have those call-ups for the players given any confidence boosts?
Yeah, for sure. I think just being called up even to training, that means they're looking at you. So that all that makes you do is just work harder and play better. So I think those call-ups are definitely helping and giving players confidence. Not only the ones that are getting called up, but the players that haven't got called up, they're giving them confidence too, because like I said, they're actually looking at us. They're considering us to go up there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, one of the final questions that I have for you, in regards to this, do you see yourself in the near future? Do you see yourself in the near future playing for the Dynamo, like trying to make it into the first team contract?
Yeah, I do, but I have a lot of things to work on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And like you just said, it's a process, and at the end of the day, it's their decision, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I definitely see myself with the Dynamo, and whenever it happens, I'll be really happy.
Definitely. So, if you could describe Coach Echeverry, El Profe, in one word, what would it be?
Strict. Strict. They're on me a lot, but I like the pressure. I like the way they talk to us, and to be honest, they've done a good job, and those results, it's not their fault. It's like I said, at the end of the day, it's that little finish, that little last touch that we need, which is scoring the goals. If we don't score, we're not going to win. And the coaches have been there helping us to do that, and we haven't been able to reward the coaches by giving them wins. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they're doing a good job, and at the end of the day, this is on us.
Yeah, definitely. Jacob?
All right, so the Portland Timber FC2 game obviously wasn't great, but when you walked into the press conference, what was the deal with the watermelon piece?
Oh, there was so like after games, I don't really like to eat. there's always food there for us. But I don't really like to eat, and everybody tells me, "Chew, you gotta eat something. You gotta eat something." So I grabbed the watermelon, and then Anwar walked in and said, they want to interview you. And I was like, all right. So then I still had the watermelon with me. So I did the interview like that.
Chuy La Sandía Enríquez.
Yeah, Chuy La Sandía.
ya me siento como el perro Bermúdez. So I really would like to thank you, Chuy, for taking the time to be on the show and answer some of the questions, so that fans, one, get to know you, two, get to know how the atmosphere, how the team is looks like on the inside, and so that way I think it helps a lot with the connection between fan and players. But before I let you go, I just have to ask you one thing. It's World Cup season. What are your thoughts on the games so far that you have seen?
No, I think they've been good. They've been great. Especially that Mexico-Germany one. That's how, the way Mexico played, that shows that con huevos, corazón, you can win any game, no matter who's in front of you. So I think the World Cup has been good so far, and hopefully, obviously, I want Mexico to win it.
Yeah, and that was also what I'm gonna ask you. So you want Mexico, obviously, in our hearts, even though I doubted Osorio, but typical me. But you always have that that love for at least for me with the Mexican national team. Obviously, I want the U.S. national team to do good as well. Pero pues, my heart is 100, with Mexico, but. With all, in reality, who do you think will win this World Cup?
To be honest, I think it's going to be Spain or France. But I really want Mexico to win. Like I said, that's what I want. But I think it's going to be either Spain or France.
And if Mexico wins it, it's going to be como dicen allá, una cachetada con guante blanco para todos nosotros que dudamos de Osorio.
No, sí, cuando ganó, yo me metí al Twitter y lo primero que hice fue hashtag Osorio y todos los tweets de perdón Osorio.
I was one of those.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes against I think what is it, South Korea? Yeah, South Korea, on Saturday. Well, thank you so much once again, Chuy. Hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Gotta keep on training, and hopefully we shall see you on Saturday, and we can get the win against Phoenix Rising NC. Actually, I do have one more question. So,
yeah,
how does it feel for you to be a potential that you'd be sharing the same field with Didier Drogba?
Oh, that's I was excited, to be honest, but I think he's in the World Cup right now.
Is he?
So. Yeah, I've seen a lot of posts that he's out there. But, if it happens, I think it's going to be crazy. I've been in fields with other players. Like, when I would play with the 20s, the Cholos, a lot of players would drop from other teams. And I played with, big players. But Didier Drogba, that's another name right there. That's another player.
Another
world class right there.
Yeah, definitely.
Just when I won Goal of the Week, I was actually competing against one of his goals, so that was already exciting. So now just imagine being in the same field.
Yeah, definitely, no, man. We'd be fangirling, como dicen.
Yeah, that's gonna be me right there.
Yeah, but definitely once those 90 minutes begin, it's just 11 versus 11.
Yeah, of course.
But pues, thank you so much, man, and hopefully we can get the win on Saturday. Y Dios quiere, ahí nos vemos ahí el sábado en el HB Park.
Ya está. Muchas gracias por tenerme en el show y pues ya saben que, como siempre digo, nosotros le damos con todo. A veces se ve como que no, pero ahí estamos trabajando duro y pues obviamente tratando de sacar los resultados.
Claro que sí, man. So we'll see.
All
We'll
right.
see you all on Saturday. Be sure to join us. Go to HGV Park. Phoenix Rising and RGVFC will be playing this Saturday. And then before the match, there's going to be a celebration for World Cup celebration. You know, after the Mexico game, but before the match. So be sure to go to HGV Park. It's good entertainment for the family. And take your friends, take everybody. We gotta go. We gotta fill that park. So, Chuy, once again, thank you, and take care, man.
All right. You too,
All right.
man.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. When we come back, we will continue. We will actually now be talking about what has been going on in the World Cup so far. So don't go away just yet. Now, remember to call us at 956-622-5977 so you can give your takes as well on the World Cup. Did you watch the Mexico game? Do you believe that the big teams like Brazil, like Spain, like Argentina, are they not playing as they should have, or is it that their level at this right now? Give us your opinions, whether on the chat as well as on the. We're back, and we're kind of skipping this break because we're about like 20 minutes from 9 o'clock, and we really want to talk about the World Cup. So once again, guys, be sure to, if you guys haven't already, if you guys would like, be sure to donate to the food bank RGV to help out the people of the Rio Grande Valley with necessities after these floods from this tropical system that did not become a tropical storm, but still dumped a lot of rain in the Rio Grande Valley region. And so, but be sure to also check out the Beautiful Game Network. Follow them in all of their social media, their website, bgn.fm, their Twitter, Facebook, at the BGNFM. Be sure to also check out the Beautiful Game Network sponsor, which is Roughneck Scarves. They are the official scarf supplier of the USL, MLS, and NCAA. And be sure to also check out our website down in the RGV.com. So, Jacob, it's been a really, really good World Cup.
Yeah, it's been a really solid World Cup so far. I mean, wasn't really expecting it to be that impressive considering the first game was a 5-0 defeat when Russia destroyed Saudi Arabia. Of course, that was really early, but you still... I thought that was going to set the tone really for the whole World Cup, but it didn't. And the whole World Cup just twisted and it changed right after we had a crazy, crazy game, a 3-3 draw, when we had Portugal, or let me just say Cristiano Ronaldo, carrying Portugal and destroying Spain's defense.
Yeah, definitely. And it's hard to not try to avoid comparisons between Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. And you see how Cristiano Ronaldo, even with a national team that many people believe is very limited in talents, not including Cristiano Ronaldo, and they've already won the Euro. They have done pretty decent, I guess you can say, in these two games that they played. They tied 3-3. Obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo scored all 3 goals. That was just beast mode right there. You know, that's where the great players show their worth, when they're able to pick their team up, even though they're not doing good, and take them towards at least a tie. Because, frankly, in my opinion, Spain played much better than Portugal. But when you have a player like Cristiano Ronaldo out there, you know, and you don't guard him like you should, because you feel like, oh, well, there's no time, like, for them to come back, or they kind of let off the gas, then a player like him is gonna make you pay dearly for that.
Exactly. I mean, and that was just the start of the World Cup right there. We had an incredible game, and of course, this incredible player with ice in his veins, basically, because he took that penalty kick with no problem whatsoever. And then that free kick right into the back of the net, that was money. It was basically really good.
Definitely, it was beautiful, and it's funny because a lot of people make fun of Cristiano Ronaldo, saying, "Oh well, why is he continuing to take free kicks? Like he never makes any goals anymore." And when it counted, there you go. He gave Portugal 1 point and took away 2 from Spain. And then, so in Group A, we had Russia and Saudi Arabia. That was the inaugural game. You mentioned 5-0. Saudi Arabia, I'm sorry, but they're extremely limited. It's one of those teams like you don't understand how they made it to the World Cup, but then you realize that they're part of one of the weakest confederations.
Well, they are. There's nothing more to say.
Yeah, and then Uruguay and Egypt faced off the day after. Uruguay defeats Egypt 1-0, and a lot of people questioning why didn't Mohamed Salah play, or why was he maybe not as a starter, but coming in as a sub. The coach did not put in Mohamed Salah against Uruguay, not even for 5, not even for 10 minutes. And a lot of people that were left with their heads scratching, and because he was on the bench. So I'm guessing he wasn't, or the coach was not confident enough in Mohamed Salah's recovery at that point. And, or maybe I've heard a lot of people say that maybe he was just too overly confident that they would be able to get the results, a tie against Uruguay without needing Mohamed Salah.
Yeah. It was a shame to not see him in, and of course, the coach really messed up. I wouldn't say the lineup, but he just messed up on that note, because right there, you get a very poor result against Uruguay where they could have honestly gotten away with a point, and finally you decide to start Mohamed Salah, where he was doing really well, I believe, against Russia, and of course, we all know what happened there, 3-1 loss, but he still played well. So if you were to put him as a sub for that game, I think he would have done fine as well and maybe gotten them the point that they needed.
Yeah, definitely. You got to take advantage. I heard a couple of commentators say even at Mohamed Salah 70-80% would probably have been enough to have done damage to Uruguay. Then the next game after that, it was Morocco versus Iran. And in that game, it looked like Morocco had a better opportunity to come away with the win. But in the last minutes, an own goal by a Moroccan defender was the difference and gave Iran the 3 points. It was just heartbreaking.
Oh, yeah, there's no excuse for that, really. It's just a crazy, an own goal. And I believe by that point, that was the first one. Maybe there had already been another before, but just that was kind of a tone in the World Cup, because I believe right now there are 3 own goals.
4
own goals.
Yes. So I believe the Iran one was the first own goal, and then we already talked about Portugal and Spain. And then on Saturday morning, you had France square off against Australia, and Australia fought valiantly. Their goal was after a penalty kick that was awarded via the VAR system, but in the end, France, even without convincing that they were playing at their fullest or at their full potential, still managed to come away with a win against the Socceroos.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that, especially right now, that I know France is saving up a lot of their energy, but at the same time, look at how they've come off into the World Cup. And it's crazy to think this, but they didn't play too well in their friendlies. I know it's friendlies, but the United States came away in France with a draw. And then, of course, heading into the World Cup, their group stage has just been okay. They're lacking talent in a way, if I should say so. Of course, they have enough talent to get by the group, but do your fans really just want to see you get by a group? If I was, from France, and I would want to see my national team just destroy that group because it's easy. I know that they got the wins, but I would have wanted to see them destroy it.
It's kind of like an honor student, a child prodigy, conforming themselves to getting a 70 because that's the minimum to pass. And I think that's what's happening with France. It's like they're kind of playing like half a pedal, to not tire themselves out too much. At least that's what it seemed, because you have Paul Pogba, you have Raphael Varane, and many other high top class French players on that national team, and you barely get by Australia, and then I think recently they played against Peru, and barely managed to get by on that game as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's no need for it, but I guess, like you said, they just want to do the minimum, and they want to go hard and play their stars in the round of 16, the knockout stages, and all of that. Of course, though, you want to top your group. Why do you want to top your group so bad? So that you can play easier teams. And of course, I know we got other matches to talk about, but it's just crazy that they really haven't been playing their full potential.
Definitely. And then the next game that I did want to kind of talk about and get your opinions in this whole Messi versus Cristiano Ronaldo thing. They played on Saturday against Argentina, against Iceland. They barely managed to tie. Lionel Messi missing a penalty kick.
It's classic stage fright. I don't know how else to say it, but they were fine in their whatever it was, the group, their South American group. They were fine with that. Cristiano, wow. Lionel Messi just absolutely was able to carry them into this World Cup, and then barely, but he still carried them in, which is a big thing. But then when he got to the World Cup, it's like he's frozen because we haven't really seen anything from the guy. He misses a penalty, okay, but he doesn't get another opportunity to score a goal or things like that. He's been invisible throughout this World Cup is how I'd like to put it.
And I want to go ahead and jump ahead to today's match against Croatia. That was pitiful, honestly, by everybody from the Argentina national team. A pitiful performance. Lionel Messi, there's a reason why they call you a pecho frío. And that is because you're no leader. You're not out there supporting your teammates and hyping them even when you're facing adversity. You're just sitting there lamenting yourself and keeping it to yourself. The third goal, I'm sorry, but Lionel Messi and Javier Mascherano just stood there like idiots waiting for the referee to call an offside and just let Luca Modric and Ivan Rakitic do whatever they pleased inside the box. Obviously, Willy Caballero had a lot to do as well with this result. But the way Lionel Messi, who's supposed to be the leader, supposed to set the example, didn't. And there is your best of the world.
Exactly. You said it exactly correct. In no way, shape, or form should that have ever happened. Because, sure, you're facing Croatia, but that Argentine side should have at least given them a fight, and they really didn't. Of course, you can go back to momentum switched when Argentina missed that open goal, and right there, if they put that ball into the back of the net, Argentina does, then we're maybe looking at a different scoreline, because that gives Argentina a little bit more momentum and maybe gives Lionel Messi a boost, maybe. gives him a boost. But yeah, right after that is, in my opinion, where I believe they just died.
Yeah, and going back to the when we were talking about RGV, at least show you're killing yourself out there for this team, and they just completely gave up. And you cannot have that especially with such world class players. And I think the problem with Argentina is they have world class players for the most part, but they do not function as a team.
Exactly.
So
It,
yeah, go ahead.
well, yeah, you always it just goes back to chemistry. You can have all these superstars, talents in the world playing for one team, but the question is, can they work together? And that Argentine team, they looked so selfish out there. It was ridiculous. You see Lionel Messi after the game walking off by himself, one guy on the bench just contemplating life, basically, and having to be dragged off the pitch, basically, or off the sidelines. And it was just exactly like that. It was very sad.
Yeah, definitely. So continuing on, you had Peru losing 1-0 against Denmark. Just quickly, Peru had so many chances. Basically, they had a lot of opportunities, especially once Paulo Guerrero came on, as well as Raúl Ruiz, and they just weren't there. They just weren't there. Like the accuracy of the shots just wasn't there. And as well, Schmeichel was in his day as well. He's shown to be a really good keeper, and so he was a key element. So that way, Denmark would keep that clean sheet and be able to win by the bare minimum. I mean, it was mostly all Peru. All the chances were Peru, and with one opportunity that Denmark had, they were able to slot it in, and that was pretty much the difference.
Yeah, it exactly was. I mean, I didn't really get to catch that game, but of course you're coming off as the underdogs in general, but still give it a chance. And they did have some opportunities, but it just wasn't enough.
Definitely. And then next game, Croatia, they defeat Nigeria 2-0. And then Serbia defeats Costa Rica 1-0. And then Sunday's match, Germany and Mexico. Even I was like all sad and very pessimistic about this game. But Mexico went out there and showed everybody what they got. They drove Germany insane. I feel like they had no idea how to react. I don't think they were expecting for Mexico to play with such a fast counterattack speed like they did with Chucky Lozano and Héctor Herrera and Andres Guardado, and it easily could have been 2-0, 3-0 if it weren't for Chicharito. But that's a completely different story. But I was surprised by Mexico, and I'm sure a lot of people were.
Well, yeah, but not to mention that the early part of the game was all Germany. I did watch that start, and Germany was attacking constantly at Ochoa, and I'm very surprised to see Ochoa and even their defense do a really good job at the start of the game, and I think that's what helped them prevail and get that win, because if it wasn't for, their defense counter-attacking like that, we're talking about Germany most likely winning maybe 2-3-0. So their defense really showed up and stepped up, and that's exactly why Mexico was able to counter and do that stuff. And even as a United States supporter and all of that, and of course I followed them, we could have even told them, look, they're going to counterattack like crazy. We could have told Germany they're going to counterattack like crazy, because I remember they always did that against the United States. They always wanted to play a fast tempo.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to take advantage of those speedy wingers with Layun and Chucky and Aquino and Jürgen Damm, even though he wasn't called up for the World Cup. But I think the efficiency, how they played, I think that's what surprised everybody, especially how they were coming in. They weren't coming with great results into this World Cup, and then you're going up against the current World Cup champion. So it was, you had some excuse to kind of be pessimistic about this match, but they came up away with the win. I think in my opinion, was the upset of the tournament so far. I'm not sure what you think.
I mean, it's very close with Argentina, Croatia. Very close with that, in my opinion. But I think since, of course, Germany are the defending champions still, they have not been eliminated or anything like that. So they're still the defending champs. That would be the upset of the tournament just because of that.
So in the next match, they had Brazil tied against Switzerland, a Switzerland team that many people, I think, were underhyping. I feel that they weren't giving Switzerland the respect that they deserve. I know I did, and even though Philippe Sanderos and other people were saying the Switzerland team this is the golden age of the Switzerland national team. They got good players, and Brazil just couldn't defeat Switzerland, and they tied 1-1. It all started with a beautiful goal by Philippe Coutinho, but then at the end, Switzerland, after a corner kick, gets the by Zuber, gets the tying goal. But I think the most surprising aspect of that goal was it just seems so USL-ish. What do I mean by USL-ish? In the fact that what's the goalkeeper's name? Alisson was stuck there inside his own 8-yard box, or yeah, right, 6-yard box, and there was nobody marking Zuber. There were like 3 defenders near him, and nobody marked him. Now, my cousin was telling me, well, it's because Zuber kind of pushed, I believe it was Miranda. He pushed him in the back, and that gave him an advantage. But still, you as a defender, you're supposed to have somebody on the attacker's back to get that advantage of like giving him a little push that the referee won't see, and to try to destabilize the attacker. But no. Everybody was in front of him. Nobody was in back of him. He was able to get away with that tiny little push, and he was just all alone to just hit the ball inside the goal. That was just bad defending by Brazil.
Exactly. And you can't do that if you want to win the World Cup, which obviously that country wants to do.
Yeah, and Neymar has that big pressure to bring the World Cup to Brazil.
Exactly, and now that man is injured. I don't believe
I'm not surprised.
I don't believe he's coming back for the next group stage game, if I'm not mistaken. If that's what I heard from Fox.
Yeah,
but it's not, and it's also not been the first time that he's gotten hurt in a World Cup too. 4 years ago in Brazil, if we do recall, he got like hit in the back or something, got stretched out, and had a broken back. So.
Yeah, and he missed out again against Germany, and then 7-1 happened. So let's quickly go over with the rest of the games. I'll mention the match day ones. You'll go ahead and mention the match day 2. The rest of the match day ones are Sweden defeating South Korea 1-0, Belgium defeating Panama 3-0, Tunisia defeating, England defeating Tunisia 2-1. Japan defeating Colombia, who played 92 minutes with 1 man down, 2-1. And then Poland losing to Senegal. There's another surprise, 2-1. And that game brought a lot of good. I don't want to say banter, but there was a lot of people saying that the second goal should not have counted, or that was some bad decision making by the referee in that second Senegal goal.
It was it was a goal. I mean, they have VAR. They could have reviewed it if they wanted to, and I every single goal is reviewed right after, but in Moscow, so they didn't see anything wrong with it, and it was a goal. Of course, fans can think what they want, but they have VAR for a reason.
All right, and go ahead and mention the rest of match day 2 matches so far.
All right, so I've got here Group C. Denmark tied Australia 1-1. That was today. France beats Peru 1-0. Croatia destroys, like we just said, Argentina 3-0. And I believe there's more, but those are the match that Group E for tomorrow. We have Brazil facing Costa Rica. That will be at 7 a.m. our time. Nigeria to face Iceland.
Ooh, that one's going to be good.
Exactly. Serbia facing Switzerland tomorrow. That will be the last game, actually, for tomorrow. And we got Group G, Belgium, Tunisia. That will be a blowout, in my opinion. And then South Korea to face Mexico on Saturday.
10 a.m.
And 10 a.m. exactly. And then Group F, Germany, Sweden. And then on Sunday, England faces Panama. Japan faces Senegal right after that game. And then Poland to face Colombia for the last game of that day, match day 2.
So right now, so far, the only group in which the two teams that you can say have advanced, confirmed that they advanced to the next round, is in Group A, in which both Russia and Uruguay are mathematically in because they both have 6 points. And so Egypt, sadly, is out of it, but I think the coach brought it to themselves. Group B, you have Spain and Portugal tied with 4 points, then followed by Iran with 3 points, and Morocco with 0. So that one is still up in the air. And then you have France with 6 points, Denmark with 4, Australia, who technically still has a chance to move on to the next round, only has 1, and Peru is also eliminated with 0 points. And then you have, within Group D, you have Croatia in first place with 6 points, Iceland with 1, but only 1 match played. And then Argentina with 2 matches played with 1 point, and Nigeria with 1 match played is 0. Every other group is still up in the air because it's only 1 match played so far. But it's gonna be interesting set of matches. Hopefully, it continues that way. So, having gone through the World Cup, I think it's time for us to go. It's a little bit past 9 o'clock. So, hope you all enjoyed this show. Hope you all enjoyed the interview with Chuy Enriquez. Be sure to catch this if you missed this podcast on YouTube. Be sure to check it out on SoundCloud when I upload it, and then iTunes, Google Play Store, and Stitcher. That's our podcasts are available there. Be sure to give a huge shout out. I want to give a huge shout out to the Beautiful Game Network for all their help. So be sure to check them out on Twitter, Facebook, and on the website, thebgn.fm. Jacob, thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. That's a quarter. That's 25 episodes already. Mm-hmm. We're a quarter of a way to 100.
Yes, we are.
That's just crazy. So we gotta think about what we want to do for our 50th episode special edition, and then maybe we can think about 100, but step by step. And so thank you so much, Jacob, for joining me today. Be safe out there. I know there's still going to be a lot of water on the roads. And tomorrow I shall make the trip down there to the Rio Grande Valley. And hopefully we can bring you some coverage live from HEB Park for this game between RGVFC and Phoenix Rising SC. Hope for the best, but I'm kind of expecting the worst. So, guys, if you guys are listening to this, prove me wrong. Got anything you want to add before we go?
Yeah, no, prove us wrong, really. I'm expecting a loss as well as Edson is. It's just, it's time for a change, really. It's really time for a change, and let's make it happen on Saturday.
Make it the beginning of the better end of the season.
Exactly.
Having said this, we'll see you all next Wednesday at 7 p.m. here on YouTube for episode 26 of Down in the Valley. Hopefully we can bring you some good news and not some bad news like we've been giving you for the past couple of months. So I hope you guys in the roster consider this as a hashtag challenge accepted. So thank you all for tuning in. We'll see each other next week. Take care.
Yeah, I'm there. Yep, same. See you Saturday, man. Thanks, you too, man. Later.